Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video. And in this video I'm going to be taking a look at the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Jabba the Hutt action playset from Return of the Jedi. This has finally been shipped in the UK. I realise that you guys in the US have had this for a week or so now, and a few of you have been messaging me and sending me pictures of it and things like that. There's lots to talk about, and I have actually avoided watching reviews and things like that because I didn't want to be influenced in what I would say about this set. So very shortly we're going to be opening it up and taking a look at all of the contents, and I will be comparing the Jabba versus the Jabba that we got with the barge, and also comparing some other bits and pieces that come with the set. I would have loved to have had the original Kenner Jabba the Hutt box to stand alongside this one, but unfortunately mine is packed away at the moment. It is actually quite amazing how similar that they have made them, considering the length of time between the two. I will throw up an image of the original Kenner version just now so you can see what I'm talking about. But with all that being said, if you do happen to enjoy the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe if you're new, and let's take a look at the packaging. Let's just get Bossk out of the way there. So they've done an absolutely fantastic job with the packaging of this. I really do like the little setup that they have there. Now, of course, we do get 8D8 and Salacious B.Crumb within this set on cards. I will be opening all of those up though in this video, and as I said, I just like the way that they've created that little scene there. We've got some of the other vintage collection figures, some of my favorite vintage collection figures, the Luke, we've got Bib, we've got the Gamorrean Guard and Squidhead. All of those are right up there in my favorite vintage collection figures of all time. Top of the box, we've got some closer up images of Jabba and Salacious B.Crumb, and a really good image there on the top left with Leia Bouche and Chewie there talking to Jabba. That one's really atmospheric photo. They've done a great job with that. Often with the vintage collection, the reverse side of these boxes is exactly the same as the front side, except for the fact we have the vintage collection logo there, but not this time. We actually have a slightly larger image of the Jabba figure in a little bit of a setup there inside the Boba Fett's palace. And there you can see a little panel there down below which tells you exactly what you're getting in the set. So you're getting the Jabba, we're getting Salacious B.Crumb, we're getting 8D8, and you also get the Dias as well, which is how I think you say it. Bottom of the box there, very little apart from a few warnings and the Return of the Jedi logo. One side of the box has the Return of the Jedi logo and a close-up image of the Jabba figure. And the other side of the box there, you have a image looking down on Jabba with his hand in the sort of bowl of frogs. So all in all, the box is fantastic. If you're an inbox collector, this one is definitely going to stand out in your collection. I think they've done a fantastic job. But of course, I'm going to be opening it up, and I'm going to be doing that right now and checking out the contents. All right then, so inside the main box, this is how it has been packaged. You can see Jabba standing there, and then in a plastic bag, you've got all the little pillows and everything. And just behind there, we can see the VC66A, which is the Salacious B.Crumb mini card, and then I guess underneath is going to be the Dias and the 8D8 figure. Alright then, so here's all of the contents that was in the box, including the two carded figures. But what we're going to do, we're going to clear the desk away, and we're going to be looking at the carded figures first, because ultimately I want to open those up and review them and compare them and what have you, and then we'll move on to the Jabba and compare that against the one that you got with the Boba Fett's palace. Okay then, so we're going to start off with Salacious B.Crumb, who is on one of these mini cards. We've only seen these once before. They were included within the SDCC Death Star Revenge of the Jedi set. You've got Salacious B.Crumb and the Mouse Droid. And they were VC65 and VC66. And you can see on this one, what they've done is they've called him VC66A. And this one is actually a Return of the Jedi card, whereas the other one is a Revenge of the Jedi card. And if you want a quick comparison, I will bring in my version. I do apologise for the glare because mine is graded. It is a different sculpt of Salacious B.Crumb. And the name in the name pill on the Revenge card is just Salacious Crumb instead of Salacious B.Crumb. But apart from that, the images are very similar. Different shades on the image. This one looks a lot cleaner to me. This one has like a more of a like a greeny tinge to it, if you like. But if we just look at the back of this one, you'll see that it has VC66 in the corner there, whereas this one is VC66A. So apart from that, there isn't too much difference. They look exactly the same size to me. And a lot of people have thought, you know, the fact that this one has been released is going to bring the value of this one down. I'm not too sure about that. I think this one goes with the Mouse Droid. It's numbered VC66, and of course it is on that Revenge card as well. So it is a variant. And yeah, it may affect it ever so slightly, but I don't think the value of this one is going to be affected too much like, you know, other figures have when there's been a reissue. But ultimately, I would love to keep this one carded, but I want this Salacious B.Crumb out of the packaging because I want him to be the Salacious B.Crumb that I use on my setup. So we're going to be opening up this one right now and checking him out and comparing him against another Salacious B.Crumb that I have. Alright then, so here is Salacious B.Crumb out of the packaging, and in my opinion, I think this is probably the best Salacious that we've had in 3.75 so far. We've had a few over the years, but I think this one's probably the most screen accurate in terms of the scale anyway. And there's a lot of detail going on there. You can really see his face and everything. I think it's a really nice Salacious B.Crumb. He is articulated, but not, you know, incredibly articulated. He doesn't have any knee joints or anything like that. Essentially, where his legs and arms join in, they're little pegs, and basically you just get swivel motion on those. Same with the head, really. It kind of just swivels around, not really too much else. And then his body in the middle has a little split there as well, so that does swivel as well. The tail also swivels, so you'll be able to sit him down on a, you know, Jabba's throne or whatever. But yeah, I think this is probably the best one that we've had. If I'll bring in another one now, this is the one that you got with the C3PO. This C3PO, if I can just bring him in quickly. So this is that C3PO that you can pop his eye out of. I think this is 30th anniversary. So you can pop his eye out like that when Salacious is attacking him. And I do believe that this one is also the one that was included in VC66 there. Very, very similar. Unfortunately, I don't have the Salacious that was included in the Walmart exclusive Jabba. And then there were some other ones as well that you got with Ula from the Power of the Force. And I think that was the same one that you got with the Amana Man as well from the Power of the Jedi. And that was really underscaled. It could stand up, which these two can't. But it was really underscaled. But there you go. That is a comparison. You can see this one has a much bigger head, which I don't think is screen accurate for a monkey lizard. So I think they've done a much better job on this, and he's going to look pretty cool. If we just move his legs like this, you see, and they look like they're crossed. If we just do that. And then he can obviously sit at the end there next to Jabba's tail. All right, then let's move on to Mr. Elbows himself, 8D8. And the first thing that strikes me is that they've done a fantastic job, you know, recreating that classic original 96 card back. I think the image on it is fantastic. I think they've cleaned it up ever so slightly. You've got the blue name pill, blue behind the figure, and it really makes him pop. And I just love the image there of him using that torture equipment in Jabba's dungeon. And you'll notice that the markings on the droid are actually on the opposite side than they are on the figure. The figure is correct. It's just that that image is flipped for the photo, and Hasbro have recreated it. It's quite strange, really. They are very inconsistent because on other figures, such as the new Darth Vader, they flipped it so his chest box was the right way round. They haven't done it on this one. And he is VC 325 in the line, and you can see the figure there out of the packaging in front of the card back Vintage Collection logo. And it seems a bit of a shame to open this one up because it is a beautiful unpunched card. But it's got to be done because I want him for my display. All right, then, so here is 8D8 out of the packaging. And my first impressions of this particular figure is that it's a great looking figure. I think they've done a really good job on the scale of him and the sculpting work. And the paint applications are really, really good as well. Some really fine detail on there, which I'm really enjoying. However, of course, this figure did have a fair amount of controversy when it was first announced, mainly because of the fact that the elbows don't articulate. And the one thing that you see him doing in the film is operating the torture equipment. And what's he doing? He's using his elbows. So you can't really recreate that. So much so that obviously when the Power of the Force version 1 came out, they even made one of his elbows permanently in that position. With the Power of the Force version, you did get the torture equipment with it, so it kind of made sense. So that is the only real flaw of this 8D8. It's not fully articulated, but in terms of just standing there in your display, it's far more superior to the Power of the Force version. One thing the Power of the Force version did include was a light pipe on the back of his head, so you could shine light through there and his eyes would glow yellow. That isn't something that I'm really fond of generally because I think it ruins the back of his head, but it does create a pretty cool effect. But let's take a look at this figure close up so we can see some of the details there. Really, really good paint applications. As I said, I think they've done a great job on the sculpting work and everything. and just the detail of him is really, really good. But let's talk about the articulation. So the head is kind of on a double barbell. There is a joint in the neck and in the head, and you do get a fair amount of range of motion on there. Not too much up and down, but certainly side to side. Lots of emotion in that head. Unfortunately, we don't have ball joints on the shoulders. It is literally only a swivel. Of course, as I mentioned, nothing on the elbows, but he does have this waist articulation, a ball joint on the waist there, which is pretty good. So he can really move around. Plenty of range of motion on there. He has the swivel hips like so, and they actually kind of lock into place as well, which is quite handy, stop him getting loose and falling over. And he does have ankles there. He has articulation on his ankle, not rocker or anything like that, but just back and forth, which the Power of the Force version did not have, I do believe. Let me just double check. No, it didn't. One thing to note as well, that the new one does not have any peg holes whatsoever in the bottom of his feet, whereas the Power of the Force version had these quite shallow ones. But all in all, I think it's a nice upgrade. I do like the look of him. I mean, look at him there. He looks fantastic. And he'll look great in the display. It's just a shame we couldn't have those elbows. They said that the arms are too thin. Maybe that's the case, maybe not. Maybe it's a budgetary thing. I'll leave that for you to decide. Alright then, so now it's time to take a look at the Jabba the Hutt figure itself, the main piece of this set, if you like. And this is a repaint of the version that you got with the Katana sail barge. The paint applications are different. We will do a comparison in a second, but I just wanted you to take a look how this looks to me by itself. And there is some weird things going on with the paint applications on this one. I'm not going to lie. I mean, for one, it looks like he's got a target on his tummy. This here looks very, very odd to me. Also, he seems to have quite heavy paint applications in the folds of his chin here. To be honest, it's not actually as bad as I thought it was going to be, judging on some of the pictures that people have sent me and in Facebook groups and things like that. As I said, I've tried to avoid as much of that as I possibly can so I can give you my honest opinion on what I can see. And judging by that, I think they may have gone a little bit too heavy. But as I said, mine doesn't seem too bad compared to some other pictures that I've seen. But most definitely, there is something weird going on with his belly there, with that like almost like bullseye on his tummy. Very, very strange. However, the rest of the paint applications are really, really good. You know, you've got some heavy weathering going on in between the folds of his skin, if you like. He is like a slug type creature, and they've done that quite well, trying to bring out some of that detail. In terms of the articulation, if you weren't aware already, the head piece does spin, although when I first got this out of the packaging, it would not move whatsoever. I had to use a little bit of force to get it to move, but it seems to be moving quite nicely now. He also has articulation at the shoulder, so there's like a hinge there. And he also has articulation at the elbow there. We've got a hinge and that swivels, and also on the wrist as well. So you can really sort of get him into some good poses. You can get him whacking C-3PO, things like that. So that's pretty cool. Of course, the articulation is exactly the same as the one that we got with the sail barge, but there he is in a classic looking Jabba pose, just looking slug-like. But apart from some of the weird paint application choices, I think it still looks pretty cool. But now what I'll do is I'll bring in my other Jabba and we can take a good look at the differences. Okay then, so here they are side by side. The one on the left is the version you got with the Katana. The one on the right is the new Jabba the Hutt from this set. And as I mentioned, as you can see there, this one does not have that weird target thing there, or it's not so pronounced anyway. I do actually prefer the green on the new Jabba compared to the original. This one seems a little bit dull. I do actually prefer that one. It's a lot more sort of life to it, if you like. And as I said, the folds under his chin on the new version have been exaggerated with some paint applications. They are virtually non-existent on this one. And it does kind of give that sort of 3D effect of those folds, but I just think they may have gone a little bit too heavy on it, basically. It just needs to be toned down ever so slightly. But I think if I was going to choose between the two, I think I would go with the new Jabba, especially the eyes. The eyes have had a massive, massive upgrade in my opinion. I think they're loads better, loads more lifelike. And you can also see that there's more paint applications in the actual mouth as well, making this mouth look a lot wider than the original mouth. But there you go. There is a comparison of the two. This one is going back in my barge. He's been in my Boba Fett's palace since that came out. Now I can put him back in the barge and replace him with this one. All right then, so to go through some of the accessories that you get with this Jabba's set, because they are different to what you got with the Boba Fett's Palace set. So you get his dais, however you pronounce that, for Jabba to sit on. You get this piece here, which goes round the back of Jabba, which also holds his hookah pipe or bong, whatever you want to call it. That also houses his little frog, or whatever that creature is that he eats. So you can drop that in there. It's a bit of a shame you only get one of those. That is a shame. But that just plonks back in there. You also get a little plate with some food on. You get 3 of these little cups, so a lot less than you will get in the cantina. So we'll just put those there. But what you do get in this set, which is much better than the Palace set, is you get these little pillows. Now, the pillows that you got with the Palace set were actually sculpted plastic, like little piles of pillows. These are actually fabric, and they are actually really, really good quality. You've got a brown one there, you've got a pink one, more of a red one, like a beige one. And I think basically you just get 2 of each size, but they're sort of mixed up the colours. So, you know, you get a small red, large red, etc. So that's pretty cool. So you can sprinkle those around for people to sit on and things like that. Apart from that, that's about it really. So obviously you just plonk your Jabba there. He can sit there with his hookah pipe. And now that we've got all of the accessories out of the way, what I'll do now is I'll bring out the version that you got with the Book of Boba Fett Palace playset, and we'll just compare the two. And there you have it. Here are the two side by side. The one on the left is pretty much how I had it set up within the Palace playset. So I had my Jabba from the barge. I've got Leia there. I had C-3PO, the old Salacious Crumb, the dancers in front, with all the sort of pelts and things like that. If you look at the new one, this particular pelt does have a bit more detail on it as well than the pelt that came with the older one. So they're just slightly different colours. Exactly the same cut. But, you know, this one's a bit more of a browny colour really. But it's nice to mix and match. So I might sort of, you know, have 1 or 2 from this one and 1 from that one. Ultimately, when I have my, you know, full-on display. What else is different? Of course, as I said, you've got the soft goods pillows, whereas on here you've got these sort of plastic ones. So that is definitely an upgrade as well. And the platform itself that he sits on is a different colour as well. This one looks more of like a darker brown compared to this lighter one there. I actually don't know which one I prefer. They've definitely gone a little bit heavier on the paint applications on the version that came with the Book of Boba Fett Palace. You can see there it's much more of a darker brown compared to this lighter shade, and also some of the paint application underneath these metal heads looks to be a lot heavier as well. So yeah, I'm not too sure which one I prefer. I think I may prefer this one. I'll have to look at them in a bit more detail, but ultimately I think I might stick with this platform and just put the new Jabba on it, and with the soft goods pillows and things like that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Quite a long video this one, quite a lot of detail to go into. There's lots of little pieces that come with this set. Of course, when we got the original Book of Boba Fett's Palace, we all wanted Jabba really, didn't we? And eventually they gave us that add-on to it. Makes us buy 2 things really for the one thing that we really wanted. And now people that didn't have the katana and didn't have this Jabba are now able to make the Book of Boba Fett's Palace playset into the Jabba the Hutt's Palace playset. So that's good. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to my Patreon supporters and channel members. As always, your support means a great deal to me. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we shall see you on the next one.